Echirma, she screen. I say FBI confirms MPP's Ken Ofori Atta investigations is a genuine legal matter and not political. Abusua, Ochirma, and this is the second time I need track flyaway switch. Ken Ofori Atta amanfoɔ ɛretwam sɛ ɔmmɛbi ma ɔmmɛbi because wanya US permanent residence na yɛwura US speaker asɛm sɛ permanent residence na wanya no deɛ it doesn't affect the extradition. Ano deɛ ɛyɛ extradition yɛde akɔma ɔmo a yɛhwehwɛ mu sɛ owura bi adi ɛbɔne nti no yɛpɛ sɛ yɛde ne ba Ghana. Wɔse OSP na kyerɛ sɛ OSP nsɛm na ɔkae no sɛ allegedly Dr. Ren TV nkɔmmɔ yɛ ne yɛdi saa na ɛteɛ deɛ a that is always be seminar kind of extradition affect taking for Atta and as it doesn't a chance for Atta in permanent residence, extradition. I said no, David. Into Chema FBI confirm say the extradition no any investigations on my kino for Atta here no Ghana no any political, yes, any political FBI for confirm say any political a genuine legal matter. But any political persecution. Now, abroad grant onya US permanent residence in Nkotie nkomo bi ekokɔ so abra onya US permanent residence.
Is maintaining extradition of former Finance Minister Ken Ofori Atta remains possible despite him securing a US permanent residence status. That's what's coming up next year on Ghana Tonight, and we'll spend some time on this and then also speak to Martin Pebo. He is private legal practitioner to share his thoughts on this latest development regarding Ken Ofori Atta. But this is it. The former finance minister, Kenneth Nanaia Ofori Atta, has secured a legal victory in the United States. This is coming after the immigration court approved his application for lawful permanent residency in a development that could complicate efforts, by Ghana to secure his return to face multiple criminal charges. And we'll look at the effect of this latest development regarding Ken Ofori Atta. And this was delivered yesterday, June 15, during proceedings in which the court considered Ken Ofori Atta's petition, the key application form in the process. And his lawyers issued this statement detailing what we're talking about. That's Menka Premo, Osebonso, Bruce, Kathleen, and partners. Ken Ofori Atta's green card petition has been granted by U.S. Immigration Court. The court had evidence relating to actions taken by Ghana's Office of the Special Prosecutor, including the OSP's earlier decision to declare Ken Ofori Atta a fugitive from justice at a time when he was reportedly undergoing medical treatment in the United States, and while his lawyers remained in communication with investigators in Ghana. The court finds the criminal charges in Ghana not credible. However, the court's ruling was made within the context of the United States immigration proceedings. The court's decision was focused on whether Ken Ofori Atta met the legal requirement for adjustment of status. So, this is the detail as we have it. But after this was made public by Ken Ofori Atta's lawyers, the Office of the Special Prosecutor also issued a statement. And they are saying that regardless of what's happened with Ken Ofori Atta in the United States, they can still get him to come and answer for whatever he's been charged with in Ghana. They've taken note of the media reports attributed to a law firm in Ghana. Mr. Ken Ofori Atta has been granted permanent residency in the United States, resulting from an immigration court finding that did not find the criminal charges filed by the OSP in Ghana against Ken Ofori Atta as credible. The OSP states that it is not involved in immigration hearings in the United States involving Ken Ofori Atta. The OSP's involvement is in respect of extradition proceedings against Ken Ofori Atta through the Attorney General as the central authority. The OSP states that the extradition packet is not before the immigration court, and the credibility otherwise of the criminal charges against Ken Ofori Atta would be determined by the courts in Ghana. who have jurisdiction to determine his guilt or innocence. Further, Ken Ofori Atta still remains a citizen of Ghana, and he is amenable to the extradition to Ghana if so decided by the extradition court in the United States. So this is what's happened from the OSP's perspective. But one of the lawyers for Ken Ofori Atta, Frank Davis, has also been speaking. He says that till date, they haven't been officially served with the charges against Ken Ofori Atta by the OSP. Take a look.
That as of today, after the adjustment status application hearing yesterday to today, and when the OSP started all the noise about Kenneth, he has as yet. He started with declaring a fugitive of justice, red notice alert. They have all suffered, shameful dismissal from those who are supposed to determine whatever there is to be determined in accordance with law. Okay? I have said from the outset, and I reiterate, that as of today, Kenneth Nanaya Kuntun Kunuku Ofori Atta has not been notified of any criminal charges pending against or in the Fiji Island or the island of Miles or Solomon Island. He has not been informed in any way whatsoever.
So that's his lawyer has not been notified or informed of any charges. That's Frank Davis there. Martin Pebo is private legal practitioner who is joining us on Zoom. Counsel, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. And I recall that this matter of Ken Ofori Atta seeking permanency in the United States is one that you mentioned almost a year ago in the midst of all the doubt, but you stuck to your source and you were convinced that this was what he was doing. This certainly doesn't come to you as a surprise, is it now?
At all. It's not a surprise. I told you that my sources had it that he had applied for permanent residence. So usually that's one of the pathways to citizenship. Nanda is a permanent resident from about 3 years. And I won't be surprised there are even exceptions to make him get it earlier. But generally from about 3 years, so between 3 and 5 years, he can become a citizen. Of course, it's a choice. It's a further choice he has to take. And one of his son applied for him, as I mentioned those months ago. Was it maybe around November or I've forgotten when I first gave that expose. Yes, so that's why he's done. So he's made further difficult to bring him down to Ghana, even though it is not impossible.
Does this in any way bring to an end what ICE has been doing regarding him and matters of immigration, this development in court?
Yeah, it's been well, so let's say this. No, we cannot say so until we've seen papers to that effect. Because remember that when the ICE thing was done, he was taken into custody, then he got bail, right? Then after bail, so we haven't seen a direct letter from his lawyers and from ICE that file has been closed. We haven't seen any. So I think we should wait for a specific indication to that effect that the case has come to an end. But the thing is that with this adjustment of status, in other words, in simple words, now that he's been made a permanent resident, the ICE case is far weaker. It's almost out of the window. Because if it was that bad and they were going to deport him, they wouldn't have given him this permanent residence. They wouldn't have. So you can say that, yes, the ICE case is effectively over, but I think we should wait for papers that actually say, yes, it's over.
And Counsel, taking into consideration what's happened now, does it in any way make it difficult or any harder to get him to be extradited to Ghana to answer for the charges against him? This green card that he's been, or the permanent residency has been granted?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our case has been made harder because you see, with permanent residence, he's gotten more rights. Now he can work and roam America freely, work. Of course, because Furiata is already a businessman, so he may not be working as an employee, but he can run more businesses there. He can roam the length and breadth of America freely because now he has a new status, right? Yes, and then he's acquired other rights, right? Generally, the U.S. Constitution protects him. Yes, and that's key. The U.S. Constitution protects him and other federal laws. So you see that now he has more arsenals at his disposal to deploy to frustrate the efforts to bring him down. And always, let's not forget, one of his lead lawyers, former Attorney General John Ashcroft, all right, is a staunch Trump supporter. He was one of the first to come out to support candidate Trump. And you see, that loyalty is paying off. Besides, Ashcroft is a registered lobbyist. In America, when they say somebody is a lobbyist, put it simply, he fixes connection man. Yes, in Ghana, the equivalent, you would say, is a connection man. He knows people. He would get people in government to do things for him. And that's how come Ofori-Atta's case has been fixed. So Ashcroft is a strong Donald Trump supporter. And so that means that they have a lot of influence. So as long as Trump is in office and Johnny Ashcroft has connections in Washington, this extradition fight is going to be bloody. It's not an easy fight at all. But we are also not lying down. We are not taking it easy. We are letting the American government know that we also know what's up. We know that it's lobbies that Ofori-Atta is paid to lobby for him. The things that we call corruption in Ghana, in the US, lobbyists are allowed to do those, like go and see and influence government officials, etc. But here, we say, no, don't go and influence anybody. Don't do that. You see, so there's more leverage there. Yes, the things we call corruption here, over there, under lobbying, it is legal. It is legal. And so that's a big problem we have on our hands. That this extradition is a very complex and difficult fight. But as I said, the more citizens rise, the more Ghanaians rise and join the call to tell the American government that, look, they should stop the lobbyists and bring Ofori-Atta down. They should make sure they win the case in the court. And after the court, they can use humanitarian reasons, prison conditions, medical reasons, etc., to refuse to bring him down. So they should forget of all those things and simply bring Ofori-Atta down. I think the more millions of Ghanaians join in, the more it will put the American government in a very untenable situation. And once they get into that untenable situation, I think they'll begin to revise their nose quickly and see that they have to do just by us. They really must do just by us. Otherwise, like the refrain now, otherwise, Frederick Kumi, alias Abu Trika, and Daniel Yusuf are not going. Daniel Yusuf and Frederick Kumi are not going to the US. That is the chant on social media, that these guys should not be extradited to the US unless and until Ofori-Atta has been brought down to Ghana.
But then again, you see, this development and council does not in any way stop the OSP from going ahead with, and that is through the Attorney General, to get Ofori-Atta to be extradited, because if you read the statement from the Special Prosecutor, he makes the point that the extradition packet is not before the Immigration Court, and the credibility or otherwise of the criminal charges against Ofori-Atta would be determined by the court in Ghana, who have jurisdiction to determine his guilt or innocence. So for his lawyers to say that the courts, the Immigration Court, had indicated that the charges against Ofori-Atta brought by the OSP had no credibility, according to the OSP, is not within the remits of that court to determine the credibility or otherwise of the charges against Ofori-Atta. I mean, take that into consideration as well. That's not one that can stop the OSP, at least this development, isn't it? The granting of the green card.
This is a song about
at all. Nothing stops them. So I presume they they will continue the effort. It's actually the Attorney General who is in the saddle. OSP has to work through our Attorney General. So under the law, Mutual Legal Assistance Act, extradition treaties, etc., it's our Attorney General who is in the saddle. He has to lead. He also, together with the Foreign Minister, Okujeto. So, when the extradition packet was ready, Attorney General had to hand it over to Okujeto. Then Okujeto will hand over to their Secretary of State, that's their Foreign Minister. Then the Foreign Minister will hand over to the Attorney General there in the US. So all communications and those things, a lot of them would go through Okujeto as Foreign Minister, and the same way in the US.
Martin Pebo, appreciate you. Thank you very much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight with your thoughts on this developing situation with Ken Ofori Atta and what the Special Prosecutor or the Attorney General will do with this development. But we are also getting information that there's been a pre-match press conference that is ahead of Ghana's game tomorrow with Panama. The head coach of the Black Stars, Carlos Queiroz, and then also some GFA officials have been addressing the press. There was a question that has been asked of Thomas Partey's absence, and the coach has been answering that question at that press conference ahead of the game tomorrow. Let's just get back to it briefly. And this is what the head coach of the Black Stars has been saying in responding to a question from a journalist regarding the absence of Thomas Partey and the impact it would have on the team. Take a look.